I want to ask you this question. If you were going to give attributes, so let's just say we have 100% of attractiveness towards women, and you were going to give a certain percentage to different attributes. So this would be height, this would be game, this would be social alignments, this would be physical attractiveness, this would be, upper body muscle, etc. If you were just going to throw out a couple of these attributes, what percentage would you relate to each one of these things?
In terms of what women find the most universally attractive?
Yeah, yes.
Gotcha. Oh, it's highly dependent on your dating strategy, I would say. But in my opinion, I would say physicality is on the high end. I would say at least 50%.
Okay.
Probably, yeah, 50%. Actually, it depends on how many we have. We have physicality, social skills, that's another one, status. It depends on how many variables we're talking about, honestly. Like if I have maybe just three, I can create a percentage, but I could probably think of like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So that'll make it kind of difficult.
Yeah. Well, but
So
just looks alone, what percentage would you give that?
I would give that the highest one. So maybe like 40 to 50%.
Yeah.
Because looks is what kind of gets you in the door in a lot of contexts and scenarios. I'm not sure if you agree with this, but even if you position yourself in a familiar environment, if the woman's not attracted to you,
of course,
that leads to like being friend zoned or being the guy to where you have to court her and get to know her for months or years on end before she'll give you a chance. Like the guy who's just more physically attractive in any means is always going to win versus the guy who is not. In my experience.
Got it. Yeah. No, for me, I would say I would put status as probably the biggest one because I've just seen too many guys who weren't that physically attractive just dominate because, I've been at too many parties with too many celebrities and just seeing them just pull the girl. So that's the only reason why I would say I would put status above everything else. But then afterwards, I'd say physical attractiveness is really good. But I do think you can game your way past physical attractiveness. I've just also seen that too many times. The guy who's really funny, really socially aligned, or the guy who uses pre-selection in order to make women compete for his attention. And then all of a sudden she just doesn't even recognize why she's attracted to this guy who's shorter than anyone she's ever dated before. So I've seen all of that work, but those are the exceptions. I think you're talking about in a vacuum. I agree with what you're saying.
True. Yeah. There's so many variables and exceptions. I wasn't even thinking about status. I also agree with that too. But I would say like high degrees of status.
Yeah.
Or if you have any sort of what's it called when you're in a contextual environment, you have high status in a contextual environment. For example, like you're the bartender or the bouncer at a nightclub, but you're not the most attractive. Like you're gonna win versus the 6'5" Chad that walks in who knows nobody and is a wallflower.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I agree.
I've definitely seen that. And then the other thing is, I really appreciate this when you say pay attention to people's actions instead of their words. And you talk about this concept that nothing matters until you have sex with her. And I know to a lot of people listening to that sounds very arcane. It sounds, somewhat, immature. But the reality of the situation is if you've been a guy and you've dated for a while, you understand that when you aren't having sex with a girl, remember we talked about there's always some other dude there. And like when a woman is dating multiple men but having sex with one of them, there's a part of her brain that does not allow dopamine or oxytocin to be released with these other men because she's giving her sex to some other guy. And men, it's like this paranoia that we feel, it actually is based in evolution. There's a reason for it. And you said this before. It's like, doesn't matter how I've seen women grab dudes' dicks. I've seen women say, I'm going to have sex with you. I've seen women do every single thing. But until they actually do that, none of the rest of it matters.
Yeah. And that came, once again, anecdotally from my own experiences. Like, you can have a girl send you nudes. You can have a girl, like, be talking crazy to you, saying she's going to do this, that. You can have a girl who you've been out on 3, 4, 5 dates with, have gotten close to having sex, and then she just go ghost. And so that's when I came to the conclusion, like, nothing matters in terms of their actions until they have sex with you, because by then that's like the ultimate validation of like, hey, you like me, and otherwise I just keep everything in the air. Like I almost expect everything to go wrong if we haven't had sex up to a point.
Yeah, so because I remember reading, you talking about So Suave forums, I remember reading the guys would have like lay reports on these different forums, and they would talk about a girl they were gonna have sex with, or like she was super into me. And I'm like, you just never know. People can say anything they want. You just don't know. That's why I always say, so for me, attention is above the belly button and compliance is below the belly button. Anything when she's texting you or she's shit testing you or she's talking whatever, that's attention. It could mean interest, but it also might not mean interest. Below the belly button, if she walks to you, she leaves with you. She walks arm in arm with you. She comes to your place. She cooks for you, or she has sex with you. Those are compliance things, and those actually do mean interest. Women are not going to go back to your place, spend time with you, or especially cook for you if they're not interested in you. So you can. That's why I say below the belly button. A woman sends you nudes. That's above the belly button. That's her thumbs. She sent those nudes to 30 other dudes, so it doesn't really matter. But I just love this concept, and I know it might come across as crass to women who are listening to this, but like if you're a man and you've been taken advantage of, you've gone on dates with women where they lead you on, you kind of understand this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where all of a sudden a man has enough leverage. A point, you talk about different points of leverage. One point of leverage is if you're having good sex with a woman. You're actually, if there's other guys who come into her field of view and they're better looking or richer or whatever, but you're having good sex with her, that's a huge point of leverage where you might be able to maintain a girl you otherwise wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, I have a saying: you want to be her first or be her best.
Yeah.
And in terms of her best, that includes sexually too. So if you can give yourself that leverage, even if you don't have anything else going for yourself to some degree, she might at least keep you around for that.
Yeah.
So always try to find out how you can be either her first or her best, but especially her best for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when men are getting used for sex, we don't feel as offended. It's not really
Exactly.
It's like whatever. We're still buddies, whatever.